All right, welcome to Bacon Bits episode. I don't have any idea. 13, 15, who knows? It's been a while. But we have the Hat as a special guest tonight. He's going to talk a little bit about Fire Emblem of Fates and that controversy. And we also have formerly known as Daddy Warpig, Jason. The artist formerly known as Warpig, Jason Jones here on the show. And I think I kind of expect a pop in from Ralph, but I really am not sure. Earlier he said he was gonna, but obviously no Professor. I think Professor. We were just talking about this. I just keep saying the green room. I stole that from Jason, but that's what we call it when we're just kind of hanging out before we hit live on the show. But Professor, hasn't tweeted in about 20 days. He said he was giving it up for Lent, but he was pretty mad when he went away about the shadow banning and what they're doing to conservatives. So I don't really know, to be honest, if he is going to come back to Twitter. I mean, he'll probably come back to the show. I mean, I've talked to a little bit of him, off the air, but I think he'll come back to the show for sure. I don't think he's going to. I would not be shocked if that was it for him with Twitter, though. He was pretty, and that was before the Adam Baldwin thing. So yeah, we all miss the artist formerly known as Warpig on Twitter. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's funny, Jason. When I wrote a piece. Farewell Daddy Warpig for my website. And during it, I said I didn't think it was going to be the start of a big mass exodus from Twitter. You were I considered you a power user that took off, and there have been a few others. But in the days since I wrote that, a prominent conservative was banned not once but twice. And then Adam Baldwin took off, and as you had just said off the air, your follower count is dwindling, and I've noticed a few of accounts that I follow have gone also. So maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe they finally have pushed it too far.
Yeah, it seems like in retrospect I was the very first of a group of people to start taking off.
I think you were too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you took off voluntarily. I keep having a mental block with that other guy's name.
R.S. McCain.
Yes, R.S. McCain was banned, and I think he had a backup account that went with him. So they were both shot, and then Adam Baldwin left. So that's three pretty big users that have taken off, and I don't know. I don't know how long they can keep doing this, and survive. Honestly, it's like I said earlier. What's it going to be? When it's just Sarkeesian and Randy Harper left, who's gonna be the victim and who's gonna scream misogyny? It's just gonna be the two of them in an empty room. I don't get if that's their business model. I don't understand it. But all right, I guess what we did. I hate to bring it up again, even because we talk about it every week, and I think this is one of the reasons why Twitter users are so mad, or at least the ones that I associate with. It's because you're basically helpless. There's not much you can do about it. Other than leave, there's not much you can do. They don't have a product you can stop buying. There is no way that they're ever going to take your complaint seriously until it's such a mass exodus of people that they have to pay attention. You're kind of you're just held hostage. You don't really. There's not a lot of recourse for the average user. And I don't like that Twitter calls us customers, because we're not customers. We're users.
Yeah.
If we were a customer, we'd be paying for something. We don't. If we paid for it, then at least we'd have recourse if the service was shitty, but we don't. So we're just kind of at their mercy, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration stems from. Oh, hey, Ralph.
Hey. What's up, man? Can you hear
How you
me?
doing? You just just end your show? Shit, I forgot to send Nora a link.
No, I'm about to
Hey,
give
can
it
you
to
send
don't
Nora
worry.
the link?
Yeah,
all
I'm
right,
about to do
thanks.
How you
Well, you know
been,
what
man?
happened? Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
No, I don't know what happened.
Well, I send these join links out, okay, and last week I was firing them off to I shot one to Professor, I shot one to you and to Jason and K Nels in case she joined, and all of a sudden my DMs locked, and I think it was because I sent the same link in rapid fire to multiple people, and it happened again earlier. So I think I don't know what's going to happen if I keep doing that. I don't know if there's some other punishment.
Well, what it does to me, I haven't had the DMs locked, but I've had it to where they won't let you send links all of a sudden. So yeah.
What
I'll do
what you
that.
should do is make a group with everybody in it that you want to send it to, and just send one link to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that because today I had to. Well, I mean, I went to Facebook to get you, and I went to Twitter, and I sent one through email to Professor in case he decided to join. So I don't know. So this is why I just want a fucking podcast. You know, let's get it over with. Nice, you know, just like it used to be, where it's so simple. People just call in or whatever. So, Ralph, we were before you jumped in, we were just talking a little bit about the, you know, people taking off and leaving Twitter. And I don't want to get too far into it because we did it last week too, so we're kind of covering the same ground. But like, you covered the story very well with the guy that got banned this week, and then Adam Baldwin leaving. So, was there anything in your story? I mean, I know you followed up with that guy too, and I think you had an interview with him, right?
Yeah, I had an interview with Stacey McCain. It's pretty fun talking to him. I haven't talked to him since he got banned again, though. So, yeah, it's. I mean, me personally, I'm not gonna leave until they ban me. So, but I understand people saying fuck it, just going ahead and leaving. But
Right, like Jason did, and like Professor seems to have done, and
yeah, I mean, I
you know.
understand that fully. I guess I just like Twitter too much to quit without without them banning me.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Hey, Ruckus. Well, I brought the hat on. Let's just get this out of the way because, well, actually, let me mention this too. I did just post a story a little while ago, and I'm only mentioning this because to me it looks fun. About a new game. It came out today. It's available on Steam. It's available on Xbox. It's called Reagan and Gorbachev, and it's an 80s. It's an 80s throwback shooter where the two of them team up to overcome a band of mercenaries. And
That does sound pretty fun.
yeah, man, it's 8-bit style. I think it's 2-bit interactive. I think it's their second one. I think Fist of Fury or something like Fist Puncher or something weird like that was their first one that I never actually played. But this one's $9, and I'm probably gonna grab it on the Xbox store. But if you want it, I got some screen grabs and I got the trailer up there. So, and like I said, I'm an '80s kid, so maybe it appeals to me more than it will to some of you. But if you want to go over there and take a look at it and maybe you know take a shot at it for $9, go ahead. It's also couch co-op, I should add. So that's another reason I might do it. So I got the hat here, and I brought him on because he played the Fire Emblem Fates, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the censorship controversy that's going on over there, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, it has to do with the localization of the game from Japan to here, correct?
Yeah, it's awful, honestly. I haven't gotten too terribly far. I'm like maybe 10 missions in now. So far, like, nothing is really glaring, and I've been told it doesn't really get that way until much later in the game. I mean, there's some stuff that's like, it almost feels watered down, if that makes any sense. Like, it's been pussified in a way. Honestly,
Right.
it reads like a young adult novel in some places.
So I'm not that
It's
familiar with
really
that game. Is it? Were there a lot of adult themes in it to begin with, and that's what stirred this up? Is that why they came out,
Well,
or was it just a bunch of the usual misogyny crap that they?
Well, Fire Emblem games usually have like younger protagonists, but they still have like adult-ish dialogue. Like it's one of Nintendo's more mature titles, which is kind of weird because like I think they've only published 2 M-rated games like ever. But it's definitely up there as far as maturity in dialogue, in topics covered and stuff, because it's war, so how are you not going to cover that in a mature way? But in this, it kind of feels like a really bad dub of an anime where your hero is like a high school kid or like a 13-year-old or something.
It's like watching Die Hard when it's on network television and they don't say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Or like
Yeah,
they're watching
right.
Snakes on a Plane on TV and they say, I've had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane.
Yeah.
I was trying to go through the best mom ever MomBot, I think, at MomBot. She has a ton of stuff on this localization on her. Just she's tweeting about it all day. It looks like, but I'm not really getting it because I never played the game, so I'm not going to understand the comparisons and what they took out. And the only thing I remember about it was that they were going to remove. This all started when they said they were going to remove this petting mini game, and I don't know what the what even that was or why it had to be in there, but so I don't. How much of this was lost in translation innocently, and how much of this was a PC scrub? Do you think?
I I can't say for absolute sure because I have not played the Japanese version, and I doubt I'll be able to because I can't read Japanese. So I'm basically just having to go on secondhand information as far as that goes. So anything as far as like characterization that's lost or any sort of issues that were covered that have sort of been PC patched, I can't say for absolute sure. But there's some things that have been tweeted out about it that I find hilarious in some ways. Like they basically skipped an entire support conversation for a couple of characters. Like literally, they've got all the translated conversation in the Japanese version. It's some YouTube video, and they have like the translated conversation, and it lasts a while, and then the localized version is just ... from both of them for like 5 seconds, and you're like, what? Were they that lazy?
Yeah, I mean, do you think it makes it worse that? And Jason, tell me if I'm wrong here, but didn't a lot of employees from what do they call the localization team, Nintendo Treehouse?
Yeah.
Haven't they been tweeting sort of half trying to defend their work, but also sort of admitting that there was a PC scrub on this?
I don't know.
I've been off Twitter for like 2 weeks now, so I have no idea.
Oh crap! I keep. Wow, that's gonna take some getting used to, man. I gotta admit, it's just weird not having you on there. So yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if anyone else. I've never played the game, so all I know is there's a big controversy, and every week I get 4 or 5 people in my DMs asking me to talk about it, and so I brought the hat on because I know he played it, but I honestly don't know anything about it other than I wouldn't be shocked if it got a PC scrubbing, but I have no proof of it. And if there was someone out there who knows both translations or knows for sure, you know what it was and wants to come on, then I'll certainly have them on. But other than that, I don't have much I can say on it. I'm probably not going to play it. I don't really plan to. I don't know if Jason, do you plan on playing it?
I don't own any Nintendo equipment.
Oh, all right.
So
yeah, I sold my
Ralph,
I sold my new
you're quiet.
3DS. I played Awakening though, but the game.
Oh, you have?
before
So you
this-
played this game?
Not this one, the one before it. I played the other Fire Emblem. But
Okay. And did that also
I
suffer
like
from a?
no, I don't know. See, I don't fault. Like I couldn't even tell you because I don't. I wasn't on Twitter all the time, so I wasn't looking into like the Japanese version and stuff. So
Right.
I just played whatever they gave me. Like I wasn't looking into it. So
There
I'm
was
sure-
some. I did see one guy who was like, "Hey, this game came from a culture where they sell used panties out of vending machines, so there's going to be some stuff. There'll be some stuff lost in translation. So maybe that's just the case here. What happened? I don't know. I don't know what a petting mini game is. I probably don't want to know.
It's basically like
so,
a
Ralph,
waifu rubbing simulator.
Let's see.
okay, so it isn't like a furry thing. I initially thought it was like a furry thing.
No, it's literally just. You ever played the newer Pokemon games for the 3DS?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there's something sort of similar in that, and maybe some people watching will know it, where you can just like pet your Pokemon, and it's basically just like you rub all over their face with the stylus on the touchscreen, and that's basically what it was on Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And
It's
doesn't
got a
sound good.
really interesting icon.
It does.
Yeah. The current honest game trailer from Smoosh Games on YouTube, you can watch
Yeah.
it. They do a screenshot of it's all about Fire Emblem Fates, the American version, but they have a 5-second video of the. I'm assuming it's the petting mini game, and the icon that is on the screen at the time you're doing the game is very sexual in nature.
I didn't know that. No.
It's
I
not
didn't know that.
somebody's hand, is all I'm saying.
By the way, Jason, I finally beat Fallout 4 this week.
Oh, okay.
I finally got to the end. I finally got to the end. I was like level 54 when I got there. So I messed around a lot in that game, but
Which
I think I was
faction did
thinking
you-
after I did the Minutemen.
Okay.
I did the Minutemen. I was initially going to do the Brotherhood, but I don't know at the last second I decided to call them the Minutemen. There was just something dodgy about those about those guys, the Brotherhood.
I dived on the Brotherhood and the Railroad when they started giving me assignments to go out and massacre groups of other factions for no reason. I'm like, no, I'm out of here.
Right. I actually did the one. I did massacre the Railroad just because they were like cultish. I pretended they were Scientologists. They were just annoying. I really couldn't get into the Railroad. Ralph, you still playing that? Or are you done?
Ah, man, I only play a little bit of it. I still have it on PC, but to be honest, I'll probably never get it beaten. I got to beat The Witcher before that, and then I got Madden, and I've been playing that a little bit lately.
And Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I still got some other shit to beat, so we'll see if I ever get to it.
I finally did open myself a Steam account this week, by the way. I haven't played anything yet, but I do have a Steam account now.
So you said
just
your
want to see-
self-esteem count, like you had a self-esteem count.
I do.
ev-
I have a self account.
Okay.
Ralph, man, I got to tell you something. I know this is going to be one of those stories where Nora is going to tell me, like, did you think that was funny when it was coming out of your mouth? You know, like one of those had to be there kind of stories. But just like half an hour before the show, I'm in the grocery store, and I thought of you because I thought, I wish I could FaceTime this right now because Ralph, I could hear him laughing, right? So I'm in the store. There's this lady in front of me, right? She's got to go. She's a big woman. And she's got a cart full of groceries, right? She's messing around with her welfare card. Couldn't remember the PIN. And what do they call those things? EBT cards, I think.
Yeah.
So she's messing around with it, right? And I look down at her cart. She's got a giant bag of roasted peanuts, right? But they had Cajun spice on them, so big letters on the bag. It just says hot nuts, right? On top of the bag of hot nuts is a giant box of condoms sitting right on top of that. So I'm watching her struggle with this card, and I'm snickering, and I'm doing that thing where I'm like, do I make the joke or do I not make the joke? Do I say something? I wanted to get a picture of it so bad. I'm like, oh, box of condoms and some hot nuts. Hey, is that what we were doing tonight?
You know when a woman's really lonely is when she buys batteries and a bottle of wine. Then you know what her plans are for the evening.
You should have seen this woman. First of all, she was, in her jammies or whatever. She was kind of filthy, and she was not kind to the scale. So I'm guessing she buys the condoms so everyone sees them and then just throws them out on the way out of the store. Yeah, it's just.
Is someone echoing?
Yeah, I heard that.
You heard your laugh.
No.
Definitely not me.
Oh.
No. Was it?
Hot nuts is very sexual. I wonder if hot nuts would make it into Fire Emblem Fates.
That's getting cut.
That just
So,
sounds. Oh.
I'll tell you what, man. I think I've decided after I want to try to make a push to play because I'm really bad about playing indie games. And I know the hat. I think we talked about this before. I don't know if you've played any good ones recently, but I just kind of feel like that's an area where they haven't really been thrown into the battle with the PC scrubbing and the Gamergate thing. There's still some good stuff happening at that level. And I think I want to try and make a concerted effort to play less AAA titles and more indie games in the coming year. and I've played some really good stuff. I mean, I've played, like before when I played Transistor. I think Trine is from an indie studio, right, Jason?
Yep.
Yeah, Hat, whoever.
Yeah.
So I had I did have an interview with that little indie guy last week, and he was a really nice guy. I have several emails. I mean, not all of it made it onto the website, but he was a super nice guy, and they're working really hard at making some of these games. And in a way, I kind of see it too. And maybe Jason. I almost said Warpig. Maybe you'll see it this way too. I see it as when you see like a little B-rate movie on Netflix or something, and it's better than you thought it was. So you look it up on IMDb and you find that little director, and you think to yourself, well, when he gets a budget, when he finally makes it, he's going to be good. So I'll keep an eye on him. And that's sort of the way I see, trying to seek out these indie games, and you get on these guys quick, and who knows, 5 years from now they could be AAA studios. 5 years from now, who knows? Nobody else wants to.
You're right. I agree with you.
Nora, you don't play games or watch Netflix or have a phone.
Fuck. Jesus. I hate you so much. Whatever, loser. I'm not the dipshit that went to Disney on his fucking honeymoon. More interested in Cinderella than Kate.
Ooh. Mine? You're a one-trick pony with that. What's the matter with you? That's all you got?
Oh my god, all you have is the fact that I'm Amish. That's all you have.
Yes.
Oh, do we have to call you Jason now?
You don't have to, but...
He's trying to retire the war pig. He's the artist. Oh, here we go. Pat, is this the first time you heard Nora laugh? Because you can just throw your headset out if you want.
Well, first time for everything.
They usually recommend you take at least one headset out, or your ears will start to bleed.
Now, see, leaving Twitter was permission for me to stop giving a shit about a lot of things. And it's very relaxing.
I can imagine.
I bet it is, man. I see you over on Facebook. You're having a good time over there. You get all the characters you want.
I gotta tell you this. This is I didn't talk about this while I was on Twitter because it wasn't really all that important. I hit sleep deprivation, like official hardcore talking to the doctor sleep deprivation in October. And so Twitter was basically all I could do because I couldn't write anything longer than 140 characters. That was the limit of my focus. And so leaving Twitter has given me permission, and getting some new settings on some machinery here has given me permission to catch up on sleep and hopefully start recovering my ability to write.
I see.
When you think about the last 6 months of me tweeting and realizing that I'm tweeting at like 35% or 20% of my normal intellectual capacity because I am literally too exhausted to do anything else.
Right.
Like, sleep deprivation is a real fun condition. When you close your eyes, your brain starts trying to put you into REM sleep immediately, and so it starts flashing up people moving and cars moving at like super speeds on the inside of your eyelids. It's like watching a movie in black and white on fast forward because your brain is so starved for sleep it's trying to put you right to sleep.
That sounds trippy.
It is. It's really bizarre. It fades after you've been awake for a few hours, but right after you wake up and right before you go to sleep, it's really, really difficult. And you have visual distortions. I've never taken acid, but I've heard from people who have. They call it tracing, where you can move your hand in the air and it leaves like a smear of pink. Being sleep deprived does that to you.
Maybe now you understand what those poor aging hippie Bernie Sanders supporters go through every day of their lives.
So that's what I've been dealing with for the last 6 months on Twitter all the time, is being at like 20% of my normal thinking capacity. So leaving Twitter gave me the permission not to give a shit about a lot of things because it's time to
rest
and
what I find
recuperate.
funny, you are so used to the format that I was reading your Facebook post and I grabbed about 6 or 7 of them just to throw them onto Word and get the character count. And almost everything you post on there would have fit under 140 characters.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you're just so used to doing it.
I don't need
You know
to
what I
say
mean? You're
things
just so
much
used to
longer.
it.
It's a waste of time for me to say things much longer because Facebook, if you do things any longer than 3 lines, cuts you off. They put on a read more tag, and there's no. It's useless to put anything under a read more tag because 99% of the people who see your post aren't going to read more, so they're not going to see it. So why worry about it?
I agree with you, man. I mean, I use both platforms. I have been shying away from Facebook a little lately, but I usually I know too many real life liberals on Facebook, and now with election season ramping up, they always seem to be itching for a fight right about now, and so I've been trying to lean away from it. I just don't want to argue with them all day long. So I get the Trump bashers on there. Congratulations, Ralph, 3 straight.
Trump, baby. The wall's coming,
straight.
and Mexico's gonna pay for it.
Mexico's gonna pay for it. I like there's this. It's funny because I'll tell you sometimes over on Facebook it's hard not to get into it with these guys. Like there's this one guy. He's a super liberal. I've known him for a long time, over 10 years, and he's a Sanders supporter. So a little socialist, and he puts up this thing and it's a meme, and it's just about Trump, and it's just it lists like the 4 failed business ventures that he's had, and it just says failed, 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 failed. And I'm like, okay, why don't you put one of these up for all the successful ventures Bernie Sanders has had? The guy didn't earn a paycheck till he's 41 years old, for Christ's sake. And and I'm like, as soon as I posted, I'm like, oh shit, I regret that. I texted him right away. I'm like, don't bother. I'm not gonna have this out with you.
Bernie Sanders really didn't have a paycheck? Still 41? Or is you just throwing that out there?
No, I've understood that he didn't have a paycheck that wasn't subsidized in some way from the taxpayers till he was about 39 years old.
Mm. Well,
his life story is out there. It's a rough one. I mean, you can tell he's an aging frumpy hippie. Just watch his I'm watching his interviews now. It looks like he stole that suit from Walmart.
aww.
He is an aging, ideologically coherent but intellectually challenged hippie whose views were primarily formed by, pot in the 60s, and yet he's still better than Hillary.
And from the ability to collect unemployment checks from his father's farm went under. So he sits around in the field getting stoned thinking, I don't have to work, man. Everybody should have this life. And then makes it, unlike most people, he makes it his life's ambition to say that we can all do that.
And yet still better than Hillary.
Are you
Still
trying to
better
sell
than
me
Hillary.
on Bernie Sanders here tonight, or?
Oh, she's just not doing well against him.
No. See, that's the thing. She's losing all these votes, but she's winning the delegate count.
Yeah,
Because
she's gonna win.
the Democratic Party does something weird. Basically, voters only have like 45% of the say in.
Right. They have super delegates.
I thought those don't count until people actually vote.
I bet the Republicans wish they had some superdelegates right about now to stop Trump with, but they don't.
I bet they wish. You know what's funny? I should tell you this, Ralph, because I think you all would like it, but Ralph particularly. I was at the local pub here the other night, and I was listening to a conversation just a couple of stools away from me. It was me and my brother down there, and I could hear the one guy was a Trump fan, and the other guy was sort of on the fence, but mostly from the way he talked, I think mostly a liberal. He loved Clinton, he even liked Jimmy Carter, and so they started having this conversation, right? And the one guy says that the liberal guy says, well, Bernie Sanders is going to pay off everyone's college debt, and the other guy says, well, where do you think he's going to get the money to do that with? And he says, well, the other guy says, well, I guess he'll have to. Guess I'll have to raise taxes, but at least I won't have to finish paying my student loans. And the other guy says, well, who's he going to raise taxes on? Is he going to raise taxes on everybody or just you and your friends? Is he going to raise taxes on the poor to pay for that? He goes, well, the liberal says the poor didn't go to college, so they don't have any debts. And then all of a sudden he stops talking. It's like a light bulb goes on, and he goes, wait a minute, it's just a fucking Ponzi scheme. He's going to take my money to pay off your debts and your money to pay off my debts, and then what happens? He goes. it's funny when you see somebody like that, you know, and they sort of all of a sudden it hits them.
Clicked.
Well, and that's not the best part, though. Right after that, the very instant after that, comes the test of intellectual honesty. It's a test of character to see whether or not they can accept that truth into their lives and allow it to change a little bit of what they believe, or whether they just ignore it and go on and believe all the same things they always have. I have very rarely seen anybody pass that test, but I have seen some people pass it. I have seen some people pass it, and that's the only thing that gives me hope for the human race.
I'd like to see what this guy felt like the next day, because when that light bulb went on, he was about 5 bourbons deep, so I don't know if he'll wake up. I don't know if that light bulb was still on the next day or not.
If I could give an example, Still Gray of Gamer Ranks is an example, I think, where the light bulb went on and he actually went off and did something with it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I know a lot of people who have had those little epiphanies, and mostly it was around here when like a teenager I know would get his like first job. I substitute taught for a while, and I would see these kids, you know, like 11th grade, they'd get their first job, they'd get their first check, and they'd come in and they'd be like, "Where's all this money going?" All right, now you're asking the right questions. Remember that old radio show host Michael Savage? He used to say, "If you're not a liberal when you're yeah, he's still on. He's not on around here. Clear Channel lost him.
Yeah,
I don't know where he's on. He's on the internet, I think. But he used to say all the time, maybe he still says on his show, if you're not a liberal when you're 18, you have no heart. If you're still a liberal when you're 21, you have no brain."
Brilliant.
I used to love that guy, man. I miss him. You still got him, Hat?
Yeah, he comes on like around 4 or 5 o'clock around here.
By the way, Hat's braving tornado warnings here to come on Bacon Bits today. So,
Oh.
what are you playing right now, Hat? I just jumped into Just Cause 3. That's what I'm on.
Oh, me? I'm taking a break from Vidya while I finish up college
School?
stuff. Yeah.
You sure you don't want me to write your papers?
Yeah, absolutely, because that'd make my degrees worth bunk.
Oh.
You know what's interesting here is that ever since I started trying to write more about video games for like the Bacon Bit show. Now, don't get me wrong. I love politics. I could talk politics with Ralph for probably 2 hours, or I could write about it endlessly. But I made a conscious decision not to do that, just because Ralph's already in that space, and I occasionally will editorialize about the PC crowd or outrage culture or anything like that. But you know, and he's been good enough to cross-post a few of my things, including the Farewell to War Pig thing. So, but for the most part, I'm trying to forge my own little space here. But I'm reaching out to a lot of these video game companies, and I'm trying to get on the press release distribution list. And I've had a fair amount of success with indie devs who are more than happy to send anyone that wants a press release. And in fact, some of the companies are more than like EA put me on. I get EA release distributions now. They were happy to do it, and it's basically an automated system. But other companies like Bethesda, like their press contact team, they didn't even respond or bother, sending the press releases. And it's funny to me because I was in public relations for years, and when I first started doing it back around 2003, I was with a fairly large firm. Actually, that's how I met Burt Reynolds and got to chat with him, but that's like another story. We had to actually write a press release, print it out, and then fax it to people. So if you wanted to get on our distribution list, it was a much bigger deal because some poor asshole, namely me, had to sit in a room and fax these things by hand for like 3 hours. And it was a pain in the ass. So you didn't want to just send press releases to any idiot because, it took your time and your money to do that. So you wanted to make sure they were all going to legitimate journalistic sources that might use them. But now it's not the case anymore. Now they just send out an email blast, and it could be 5 people, 1,000 people. It doesn't matter. It takes the same amount of time, costs the same amount of money. But yet you'd think that they would – I don't understand why it's difficult for them to have a smaller website sign up for these releases and actually receive them. I've got a probably 50% rate right now of actually getting signed up for these things, and I just don't get it. There's no cost involved. There's no time involved. I'm not really sure why. I find it very weird. and
That's
no one
great.
gives a fuck. So I'll
I
just
no,
move on.
because I was trying to think, what the fuck is a fax?
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck is a fax? No, you wouldn't know, Nora. If the fax was a current, brand new technology, you wouldn't have it.
Oh, you're right.
Aw.
I actually do have a fax machine in my house. Fuck you. We have that, so you can send me faxes. If anyone
Yeah.
still has.
Smoke signal.
Let me say this. On the other side of your experience, there is my experience with press releases, which is I do a tiny little blog, and I haven't said boo to anybody anywhere about anything. I haven't contacted any company. I haven't contacted any organization. As far as I know, nobody knows about my blog of like any official importance, and that's that's pretty much the way I want it. I don't give a shit. But at the same time, I've had one company send me a Steam code to review their game, and I had some indie movie maker send me a link to like his publicity page where he had a trailer for his little robot movie. It was basically Ex Machina about a year before Ex Machina came out, and with a male robot instead of a hot female robot. And then a huge long list of restrictions on how he wanted me to mention the game and when I linked to it and what language I used to bring up his trailer. I'm like, man, not
Get
that
out
I
of
was
here.
going to anyway, but that's just too much hassle, man. Serious.
Why doesn't he just write the thing for you then?
Well, that's what they try to do. That's what their biggest. Well, our goal always was to write the press release and have it printed exactly as it was. So I mean, it was always the nightmare if somebody was to call, like say someone called from like USA Today and they wanted to rework the thing, we would get into a frenzy because we didn't know what they were going to say. So they don't want you to write your own stuff. They want you, but that's another problem with putting that stuff on the web though, is that Google doesn't really care for duplicate content all that much. Now, Ralph, I bet you 90% of his traffic comes from Twitter probably.
A lot of
I'm
it
not-
does. Yeah.
Right. See, I'm not going to get that. I'm going to get. I only have a measly 1,000. Ralph's got 15,000. Oh, well, you're pushing 16, aren't you?
He's
What?
on 16 now.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm down around 1,100. So I'm not going to get that. I'm going to have to rely on Google. So I have to be careful about what I do. If I can't, I can't really hurt myself any with the.
It depends though. A lot of my traffic does come from Google itself too, though. So.
Wait a minute. Was there a Deadpool? Did somebody start a Deadpool about who's going to get permabanned next?
Is there? No, I don't know.
Is there anybody in the pool but Ralph? It's a one per. Well, actually, Nora got the boot before Ralph.
Yeah, what the fuck? I'm more scary than Ralph. What can I say? I'm actually the mean one. If no one really believes that, then I am.
You're the mean one.
I am. I'm meaner.
Somehow I don't
Secretly.
really believe that.
I
I don't
am. I am. Ask him.
What else were you
So
gonna?
vicious.
I can't say this enough, too. That if you guys want to look that guy up, it was that indie guy that I interviewed. He was super nice, man, and you can tell they're just hungry. They're trying to. They only have like 35 followers on Twitter, so they're a young company. This guy, his story's fascinating. To talk to him was great. Gets laid off from the finance sector. Always wanted to be a game developer his entire life. I mean, he's an 80s guy like me, so he just went all in. Started the studio. He hired a writer from the Diablo franchise and just threw it all into it. Like it's a pass fail thing. If he flames out here, he's good and screwed. So it's all in the line. And I always you got to appreciate a guy who takes that kind of chance. So look up that article and look up that studio if you can. I think he's going to try and kickstart. He got enough money from it's in Canada, and I'm not familiar with it, but there's an association for the arts there or something. So he got enough money to get the prototype, hire the artists, the writers, get the concept and stuff like that. But he's going to have to kickstart the actual production of the thing. So when that happens, I'll try to get that out there. But look him up because he's super nice guy. Ralph, did you cross post that one? I don't even remember if you did.
Which one again?
The indie developer.
No, I hadn't cross-posted. I haven't done much anything the last day or so.
What's the matter? Nora distracting you?
Nah, I haven't really felt that good.
Me? He's been sleeping.
Just my head's been hurting. I haven't felt that good. I'll get some work done tonight though.
What, are you got a cold?
I don't know. It's not a cold, just headache.
I love the way Bacon's asking. Like he's just like this sissy, this pussy. You got a cold?
Ralph, normal
That's not
people
how I
call
asked
that a
it at all.
hangover.
Oh, is that
No.
what it is? Is this a Trump party hangover, Ralph?
Nah, it's not. Just had
You were up watching the election returns?
No, I actually fell asleep right before they came
I
on.
did.
I
So-
actually saw that. I saw you say, I read one of your articles this morning where you said you were,
Yeah, I
You
fell
fell
asleep
asleep.
right before, but they called immediately anyway, so it's not like I missed anything.
no, they called it like 6% in.
No, they called it 3%.
3%. Yeah, 2%. You're right.
I'll tell you what, the only way to survive the next 10 years of U.S. politics is just to accept that it's a joke and don't worry about it. Because if you take it seriously, it'll drive you to suicide.
They ought to just come out and make it like American Idol already.
American Idol style. Well, it's getting close. It's not that
Vote.
far
Text Trump to vote for Trump.
On a phone company owned by Trump. Winning. Hashtag winning.
Oh, hey, here's something that'll make you want to kill yourself.
Oh, thanks.
Kim Kardashian's mobile game that's free to play but offers you to buy crap in the game with real money. Like buy airplanes and cars and shit with real money. Guess how much money she's made off that?
I don't want to know.
Couple of
$100 million.
yeah, yeah. That game she has was already an existing game, and they just incorporated her into it because I used to play that game, and then they added her, and then I stopped playing it.
That is,
$100 million.
in case you're wondering, that is $100 million more than Depression Quest made. I just looked it up.
See, and you know what's funny is I think to myself, wow, Kim Kardashian deserves that money more than Depression Quest does.
Right.
And that's really sad to have to say that about anything ever.
Absolutely.
Kim Kardashian is more of a developer than Zoe Quinn is. Jesus Christ.
And Kim Kardashian, shockingly enough, is less of a slut than Zoe Quinn is.
That's a pretty low bench.
See, when I was on
that's not a
Twitter, I'd
bar
have
you
to
wanna
worry
be.
about that. I'd have to wonder, oh, wait, should I say this, man? If I call her a slut, everybody's going to be upset and it'll make other people look bad. And now I just don't have to give a shit.
You mean you cared about that once?
Yeah, I used to.
I've never
Yeah,
cared.
because yeah, but when you got as many followers, I mean, Ralph takes the heat and he doesn't really mind that much. But you know, Warpig had what'd you have when you killed that account? 9,000 almost.
Almost
You whip
9,000,
up-
yeah.
Yeah, all you got to do is whip up 20% of them into a frenzy, and it's a pain in the ass.
My God,
You
you should have just done it. Like before you left, you should have just done it for fun. Like piss off a bunch of.
You know, I was going to ask you this too, Jason, and maybe Ralph too, because you cover some of the same stuff that I do over on the website. When I had posted that article about that indie guy the first time, I had used the hashtag IndieDev, and I did it because I thought people who saw it would be interested in that particular article, not because I'm not a dev or anything. I just thought that they would, that would be the group for that article. So
Yeah.
when I did it, I would say 7 or 8 new followers came in from the tag, and when I would look at their accounts, they were little, I write for an indie studio, or I am an indie guy, or whatever else. But they all lasted. It was just like when a celebrity follows me. It lasted about 2 minutes. And I figured they must have gone through my tweets or went over to my site and saw like the Hugbox article or something, and boom, they were gone. So I don't know if maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the maybe the PC leftist crowd is definitely in the indie crowd too. I thought it was maybe a little more immune than that, but the way they were coming in and jumping off, I just kind of think that maybe it was my politics that pushed them away. Has that ever happened to you, Ralph?
Where people, followed me and then saw that I'd posted some stuff and then unfollow. Is that what you mean?
Not like people. I mean, like
Never.
like a random celebrity or like a writer or like a indie studio or something like that. Because see, it's kind of weird. I mean, I always think like you get these like this one tweet, right? And I actually talked to Jason about this. I think maybe on his show, where I tweeted about this movie, and 2 of the stars from the movie immediately followed me, basically on the strength of that one tweet. And then they must have looked through about 5 or 6 more below it and went, oh shit, this guy's and then they were out. It was so fast I could barely see it. So I guess, man, if you're gonna follow somebody, just scroll past whatever tweet it is you like a couple just to see. I guess I don't know.
I had a couple of people who were like yoga masters, and then they were into like holistic medicine and peace and love, and then they followed me, and I'm like, man.
Oh God, I had a guy follow me the other day that said he was from Big Shock, right, California, but his bio was like spreading the joy of the vegan lifestyle to teens and transsexuals everywhere. And I'm like, this guy's gonna fucking hate me. Why is he here? Why is he following me?
Exactly. It's not like I even like hated him or anything. I was just shaking my head, going, "You were in the wrong place."
He unfollowed me so fast when I went back to see the notification again, it was already gone.
Oh, Bacon.
I'm glad he was gone because I don't need that hippie shit. I wasn't gonna.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me. Carry on.
There was some lady who followed me who I like checked out her account because she was a mom and she was into all this nice fluffy stuff, and this is like during the height of Gamergate, and I just went and checked out her account to see who she was, and I don't know why she followed me, but she was just like the nicest lady ever, and I'm thinking, hon, you're on the wrong part of Twitter. You do not want to be following me. You're not even in the bad part of the wrong part of Twitter.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes they just kind of stumble in innocently, and then they're always shocked, and they run away.
I'm like, ma'am, you seem like a real nice lady. You just, this is not the place for you. I'm sorry.
Are you mansplaining right now, Jason?
Yeah, he's mansplaining.
That is
You know who
disgusting.
unfollowed me this morning, Ralph?
What?
You know who unfollowed me this morning?
Oh.
Goose.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
Goose has followed and unfollowed me like 4 times.
I don't know what I did to piss him off, but he unfollowed me this morning. I don't think I had tweeted in like 12 hours.
Or maybe Twitter unfollowed, got him to unfollow
Yeah, they did
you.
it sometimes. Yeah.
They do that a lot.
I just thought
they
it was
do that
funny.
to me too.
Every time I go on somebody's show, like Goose would follow me, and then like a day or 2 later, he would unfollow me because I said something that would piss him off. I'm like, dude, come on!
I've tried to follow that right-wing surfer girl about 4 times now, and she's a right-wing surfer. Her tweets have been all over. They've been in the New York Times, and they've been on Breitbart a lot, and she's been suspended like 3 times, and I think she might have the record for getting unsuspended, but I think maybe every time it happens, not all of her followers get restored because I keep having to refollow her, and I saw her complaining about it earlier.
I think
So I
Rogue's...
don't know.
You're enamored with her, huh, Bacon?
I like her
Roguestar has
politics,
like
Ralph.
22 suspensions under his belt.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more than his failed Kickstarter number.
Oh my god.
Somehow I knew that was going to wake Ralph up.
Why is no one reporting this asshole? He's clearly like scamming people out of money. Why has no one reported this fucking cunt?
He says
Well, you know, the way...
Sorry, I
Yeah.
swore.
Look, this is definitely a kid's show. Oh, definitely a G-rated show here.
I'm sorry,
Hey,
I
look,
forgot where I
you
was.
give your money on Kickstarter, you're kind of, it's a risk. You got to know it's a risk. I mean, you don't just you got to know that at least 50% of the time you're not going to get what you thought you were going to get there. So
No, the thing was that last year, oh my god, I can hear myself and I'm disgusting. I can't remember who they are, but they said that they're going to start going after like scammy Kickstarters now. So if like a Kickstarter is not delivering and they haven't given you a legit reason or anything like that, you can report them and then they'll go to court and shit like that. Rogue is in the U.S., right?
I don't know how that's going to work out for Kickstarter. I mean, they're going to start prosecuting everyone who doesn't deliver on a vague promise they put up on a crowdfunding website.
I don't know the certain conditions, but we can always try with Rogue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could always try it with, a couple of test cases, but I'm not sure what that would do to the service. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to want to. A lot of these are speculative anyway. They're speculations. They think they can accomplish something. Some of them might actually be trying to, but for whatever reason, they wind up falling short, and it's not necessarily an intentional scam. But I mean, look, this is no different than having a guy walk up to your door, ring the doorbell, and say, "Hey, I'm trying to start a business. Would you give me $10?" And then you give him $10. I mean, that's basically what this is. And if he promises that he'll come back with a free blue widget in 6 months and he doesn't, then you think to yourself, well, I guess I should stop giving money to people who ring my doorbell. It's not any different than that. In fact, it's probably more anonymous than that.
Yeah, I'm just glad I haven't been involved in any of that fighting.
I don't know anything about him, and I don't know anything about his game, and I don't really. That's Ralph's thing, but I'm just saying Kickstarter in general is, in my opinion, a crapshoot. If you're going to give money to strangers,
Rogue flamed out in a big way before you really came along in Gamergate. It was the night
that was probably way before me.
It was the night of the San Francisco Gamergate meetup. Was his last big hurrah on Twitter.
Yeah.
That was when
Okay.
that was when a lot of people wrote him off.
You mean when he talked about doing a drive-by shooting on Randy Harper?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what got him banned?
Everybody knew he was going to get banned. He was basically begging to get banned. And I said it at one point. I said, look, if it's gone 2 weeks without a good banning, Roguestar tries to get banned. And it had been 3 weeks, and so he flamed out.
Now
So what did
nobody
you-
even cares enough about him to get him banned, so...
Was it just like a bunch of drunk tweeting that he did from that thing?
It was one specific tweet. Somebody had claimed that Gamergate had done a drive-by on him in Oakland. And they claimed that Gamergate had done a drive-by on an intersection that doesn't actually technically exist. Like, if you look at the map, the two roads they claimed they were on the corner of don't even touch. So it was impossible for Gamergate to have done a drive-by, and a lot of people made fun of it.
But he was making a joke in context of that. I mean, I actually defended him on that because, I mean, it was clearly a joke, but then again, he was also dumb as fuck for even saying that.
Oh, yeah.
They blamed Gamergate for a drive-by in Oakland.
Yeah, they literally said they were standing on a street corner and a car with 3 Gamergate people rolled up on him, said something about Gamergate, and then pulled a gun. Now, this isn't Rogue. Rogue didn't say this. Some asshole said this. And then, like, 3 days later, Rogue made a joke about that drive-by tweet saying, we're going to get together and do a drive-by on Randy Harper or something. I don't remember the exact term. It was clearly a joke, and he was drunk off his ass, but... It was dumb. It was dumb. Of course Twitter's going to ban him in an instant.
In Oakland. This sounds like part 2 of the SVU episode, right? So 2 cops on the street corner, dead bodies in the road, and they go, who do you think did this drive-by? The Bloods, the Crips? And the other cop goes, no, I think it was Gamergate.
Gamergate, yeah.
I think Gamergate leveled up.
So he was...
Oh my God, that's awesome.
He got hardcore banned from Twitter and then didn't come back from a month and then found out that everybody was pissed. They were mad because he had done something so stupid and he lost a ton of respect from people and he never really got his follower count back. And, that was pretty much it as far as being an influence in Gamergate. That was like he shot all his credibility to hell.
Oh, Nora just dropped. I didn't see Nora say goodbye. Goodbye, Nora. She dropped out. So what's the deal? How do you come back from a suspension like that? I thought that was nearly impossible.
Look, the only reason why Twitter keeps on re-banning people in Gamergate is because other assholes who used to be in Gamergate are reporting them to Twitter. Antis don't know shit. They don't know anything about what's going on in Gamergate. They don't really pay attention. They don't follow us, really. And so the only reason somebody who gets unbanned or creates a new account ever gets reported to Twitter is because some other asshole who isn't in Gamergate anymore is loudly, publicly, angrily left, reports them to Twitter because they still follow friends who are involved in Gamergate. So they hear about it, they get pissed because they left Gamergate and have some kind of grudge, and they go toddling off to Twitter to report them.
I think that's what Ralph gets a lot, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody outside of Gamergate has done more damage to Gamergate than people who used to be part of it. Period. That's just. Sorry, guys,
Right.
it's the truth.
Yeah. No arguments here.
Hey, what do you care? You're not on Twitter anymore. No one's gonna argue
Oh.
with you. Oh, good, the hat is here. I keep looking down at his symbol. He's not talking. I'm like, I hope a tornado hasn't got him because I haven't heard from him.
No,
and-
not
and-
yet. I think we're in the clear now.
Even when I was, for the last, 8 months, I was tweeting in Gamergate, I wasn't tweeting at people. I was making general statements about antis. And so they didn't really have anything they hated me. They were mad. I had people who would say, oh, I can't believe they let him and Milo on. They're the biggest harassers on Twitter. I'm like, dude, really? You put me in the same scale as Milo? Man, thanks.
Yeah, did you see how mad some of the left? I mean, I think probably 25% of the people that follow Milo are just there so they can get outraged at the shit he says. They don't really like him. They're just there to get mad because they love getting angry, you know. So he posts that link to the swag, right? And they just went nuts. Oh, you sellout! I can't believe what a sellout you are. And I'm like, yeah, the guy wants to make money instead of sleep under a bridge. What a sellout! What a dick! What's what? Yeah, because is that evil now? Because he wants to make a few bucks on his.
Well, it is in a non-culture, and most of the early Twitter Gamergate people were anons who came over from 4chan. So in a non-culture, making money off of stuff is bad. And I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm not trying to put them down. It's just it's against their ethos of anonymity. But anyways. What I'm saying is, for the last 8 months, I didn't insult anybody personally. I would just say, "Hey, antis," or "Hey, SJWs," or whatever, so I could get away with saying really insulting shit, and they couldn't report me for it because I wasn't harassing anybody. So
one guy got the boot last week for tagging Fem Frequency, I think, but I believe he's back, right? There was a guy. Why can't I remember his name? But he had a.
Dan, he is or was an artist working with GM Shivers on their indie game that I can't remember the name of. I'm so sorry. Seedscape, thank you. I kept on thinking Gene Seed, and I'm like, no, that's wrong.
So he had Gene Seed. Now that's the porn version. So he had a back and forth with Sarkeesian, and he got booted. But made it back from the suspension.
Yeah, I don't know how he made it back. He's on the same account, too, so they unbanned him.
You just got to not... it's like Ralph said weeks or months ago on this. You just got to not tag these people. You're asking for it if you do.
Yeah, that's... Izzy Galvez likes to take credit if someone ever tags him in anything and then they get suspended later.
That guy's...
He got like a 24-hour suspension too, didn't he? Yeah, he's a pain in the ass. He shows up in my feeds and what's funny? After last week's show, someone else had mentioned on Twitter. Maybe it was it might have even been Women's Truth, but someone else mentioned that they were unblocked by Woo, so it wasn't just me. Ralph, it hasn't happened to yet, and I guess we'll never know if it happened to the old Warpig account, but. I wonder what's up with that. If she does that on purpose, or if she just jumped out of the blockbot list, or how that happened.
No. Wu and Sarkeesian both, when some big event's coming up, they unblock everybody so they can try and get reactions, people saying mean things, so they can run off and scream that they're being harassed.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. That makes sense. Maybe I'm reblocked now. I don't know. I don't really usually check her account because I don't have any desire to read anything. But
you know what? There are a lot of mean things about those people I haven't said because I shouldn't say it because it's not nice. But I don't think Wu is really a transsexual.
Maybe not. I mean,
I think Wu was a gay man who couldn't handle being gay, and so came to believe he was transsexual because that was easier for him to accept than being gay.
Stunning and brave.
Because he spends, this is why I think that. He spends all of his time saying, I'm a woman, as a woman, I do this, and I'm like, dude, I know male to female transsexuals. Sophia Eris, they don't spend all their time trying to convince themselves how much of a woman they are. They don't tell everybody else all the time how much of a woman they are. Clearly, you are compensating for not really thinking you're a woman. You don't really feel like a woman because I have 20 or 30 transsexual followers, and they don't ever have to say, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm a woman. As a woman, I'm saying this. It's like, dude, no, sorry. Real transsexuals don't have to talk themselves into it.
And it doesn't help that Wu still looks like Steven Tyler. I'm just going to keep saying that till it sticks. One of these days, it's going to stick. I promise you. All right. Well, I guess we've been the hour. Ralph's quiet and sick, and Hat's got schoolwork to do and a tornado warning hanging over his head. So I'm going to try and keep it to an hour now. Just a quick note. I don't know. I had originally intended for the professor to take over for me next week when I will be away. So he has apparently abandoned Twitter. So I have no idea if I'm going to be able to get him to do that. So there's.
I think he just gave it up for Lent, is what I was told.
That's what he said on his Twitter account, but behind the scenes he seems pretty mad about what they've been doing to conservatives. So I think what started as a temporary leave of absence might be something more permanent for him, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. He's not the dramatic type, He'll probably just leave and not do that lap that how people do that thing. I'm leaving, and then they do it like a lap. I'm leaving Gamergate, the movement, and they, so I don't think he's going to do anything like that. But yeah, that's exactly right. That's how they do it.
If only they would.
So, all right, guys. I may or may not. I don't know what's going to happen to the show next week. There may just not be one, unless Jason, unless you want to do one on your you want to fill in, but you got your own thing. You got Geek Gab going, and Ralph's got his own show on Wednesdays anyway, right? Ralph, you still doing that?
I haven't been doing my Wednesday shows for a while, but maybe I'll do one next week. We'll see.
Did you get your Twitter or did you get your YouTube stuff back?
Yeah, well, they suspended two of them. One of them was like my third channel, and one of them was my one of my two big channels. They gave the big one back, and then they didn't give the small one back. They said it was spam, even though it wasn't. So, but it's all good. I got the other two back. So.
Self-hating game man theory does explain a lot. yeah, you might be onto something there, Jason. You might have hit the nail on the head there.
I know it's offensive because anything you say bad about a transsexual or a gay person is offensive nowadays, and I probably shouldn't say anything, but I don't give a shit anymore. I mean, I feel kind of bad for Wu. It's clearly someone who has messed up their life and is really miserable and is just making other people miserable because think about it this way. You've decided that you feel like you have to be a woman because you spend all your time trying to convince yourself that you feel like you're a woman. Okay. Other male to female transsexuals don't have to do that. So what happens then if you're spending all your time trying to talk yourself into believing that you feel like you're a woman? Well, that means that anybody else who says something against that is going to make you angry because they're threatening your self-gaslighting. They're threatening that idea you're trying to convince yourself that you believe even when you don't. And that explains so much.
That was the whole crux of the book, Irving Goffman's Sense of Self. That's he's like a minor psychologist kind of figure that I at least had to study during marketing classes in college. But it's a good book. It's what you just said there is one of his key theories. So
yeah, that's just
that's an interesting.
Why Wu gets so angry when people say things that undermine his transsexual identity is because he's not really a female to male transsexual. He's a gay man who couldn't handle being gay, and he hates people who threaten that threat.
Maybe we'll eventually we'll turn up on Steam first, Rev 60 or FleetCom. We might.
Somebody say it in the comments.
Our comment sections. Yeah.
So
our comment section's better than me, man.
I'd apologize to all the people who are offended, but I don't have to care anymore.
No, you don't. And who cares if they're offended? They're not listening to this show.
So. But
All right, man. Well, listen, I will thank everyone for coming, and I don't know what's like I said, I don't know what's going to happen next week, but if I can work something out, I will. Otherwise, we'll be back the week after next.
All right, Bacon. Peace
But
out. Man.
all right, thanks, guys. I'll see you.
have fun next week. Bye.
Thanks, buddy. Later.
See you.